It's my honor and privilege to welcome all of you here. Thank you so much, Francesco Corvaro, for making it despite being tired. I know it's, this is almost like when you go from one event to the other, it's like you're starting a hike. So, but yes, I see really good number of young faces who are here, and I hope most of you are eye activists. How many of you are eye activists in the room who've gone through this training of IACT? Okay, that's quite a number. I think the ones who aren't will probably get motivated by the end of the program to also be part of this. So it's a pleasure to present the welcoming remarks to this very interesting, very innovative program that we've done with the Italian Ministry for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation called IACT, in which we developed a toolkit which allows a peer-to-peer interaction and has facilitated many of the young people to not just, to understand issues around climate, but also take on the role of, talking and organizing small group discussions with their peers so that more people, more young people get the knowledge, the attitude and the values that they're looking for addressing climate issues. So I think it's, the time now, and especially now that we have seen the tripling of renewables energy pledge that's happened in this COP, the time is now to really get many more youth on board, but not without understanding the issues. So this is really a tool, it's a toolkit that allows youth-to-youth interaction. And I think it's been a very, very innovative kind of a program where these workshops have been facilitated by the Italian embassies spread across the world. They have invited the young people, and they've been trained. We've trained initially 70 people, 70 young people in this, and I believe now we have almost 3,000 youth in a very short time who have gone through this process and are eager to take this forward. So it's really creating that kind of a network effect that we need to have, and I hope we will continue this collaboration with the Italian embassies located across the world in getting more young people trained, their capacities built so that they can act like youth champions in some way after understanding the issues that are involved. I just want to also say that this was also a program that was created and evolved with the participation for the youth. And we at IRENA are great believers in the call that the youth have given, that nothing about us without us. So we definitely make sure that when we develop these programs, we listen to the voices of our constituency, that's the youth here, and then create the kind of programs that are for you. So I really look forward to this session, to hearing many of you interact and speak, so that we can then go ahead and strengthen this program and really get the insights about what your concerns are, what are you thinking about, and what you need more information, knowledge, and guidance on. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Gary. And as Gary said, this collaboration has been a partnership between IRENA and the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And so it's my pleasure to welcome Francesco Corvaro, the Special Envoy for Climate Change from Italy, to also give us some welcoming remarks. Thank you very much.
So good, good morning. Thanks for the invitation, dear friend. I am very happy to be here with you, with Irina, and with the younger generation. I am honored to stay here, and since I really appreciate the invitation because this initiative is strongly aligned with the Youth for Climate. At the heart of Youth for Climate lies our commitment to empowering young people and providing them with the tools that they need to drive projects against climate change. And how do we achieve this? Firstly, by ensuring that the young people have a voice in major international forums, recognize that their insights and perspectives are vital in shaping our global response to climate change. But moreover, we are dedicated to fostering a global community of young change makers. This network is more than just a platform. It's an ecosystem where young individuals from across the globe can connect, collaborate, and learn. Remember that climate change is something with no barriers, and the younger people is able to build a world without any kind of barriers. But our mission doesn't stop here. We actively support innovative and concrete projects by providing them with the necessary resources and capabilities. We are starting to see the result of our efforts thanks to the collaboration with the UNDP and critical actors. The first thing that I want to put in evidence is that we have established a global network of young individuals. We have introduced an effective funding mechanism specially designed to bring projects and lead by young people alongside various training activities to life. We have successfully organized 3 main global events, the last one in Rome. We invited more than 100 young individuals, people, and we were able to give them an award. 50 of them received an award. And among these projects, we recognize the capabilities and the passion that the young people have. We aim to develop Youth for Climate into a leading partnership model that aligns with the Paris Agreement's goal, including those for a just transition. We recognize a big amount of synergies and opportunities with IRENA, and we believe that IACT will serve as a starting point for further collaborations. This is particularly relevant as we approach the next call for solutions where energy will continue to play a really important role. I want to conclude by emphasizing that our future depends on the ability to listen, to support, and invest in these young leaders. You have the passion, you have the capability, you have everything that we need to solve the climate change and to win this important fight. So again, thank you very much for the invitation, and I am really happy to stay here among you. Thanks.
Thank you very much for these inspiring remarks. This initiative wouldn't have been possible without the support of the Italian government and also without the Italian embassy network leveraging its embassies in the different countries to support the young people. And on that note, I would like to invite Ginevra Buccelli from the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She's been our focal point on this project, and she would also like to say a few words. So, Ginevra.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Ginevra Buccelli, and I work at the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in the office that deals with energy, climate change, and ecological transition. So for Italy, it's definitely a priority, the youth engagement in the fight against climate change. And for this reason, we have developed, in collaboration with IRENA, the IACT Toolkit, which represents a very important project that, as you have heard, has allowed the training of 80 young activists and has now reached over 3,000 people all over the world, thanks to the engagement of our embassies network. So, also being a young person, I can definitely say that I am faithful by seeing so many young people here that are very attached to this cause and that support this cause. And this definitely gives me hope for the future. As a Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we definitely believe that this is a very important challenge to face, that it is a complex challenge that involves several dimensions, and that therefore superficial solutions cannot be found. We all need to unite to this cause in order to be effective and to deliver solutions for our future. So thank you all for being here again. And let me conclude again by saying that I am extremely thankful and hopeful by seeing this participation here today. So thank you very much.
Okay, so we've been talking quite a lot about this toolkit, we've been talking about IACT, but what is it exactly? So now I'm just going to give you a bit of a preview as to some of the content in the toolkit. But first I just want to share a personal reflection. I've been at IACT for quite a long time, I won't say how many years, but a lot of years. And this is probably one of my favorite projects that I have worked on. Seeing the enthusiasm of all of our young leaders who are part of the IACT program, how they have taken complete ownership of the program. It goes to show that young people, if we give them the resources, we give them the platform, they're ready to run with it. They're ready to take ownership, to take leadership, and to really bring these tools and resources to their communities. So it has been a pleasure working with all of the IACT youth, and you'll get to hear from some of them shortly. Next slide. All right, so as mentioned, this toolkit, of course, is a collaboration between Italy and the Italian government, but we also wanted to bring young people into the process. And so the SDG 7 Youth Constituency and UNICEF are also core partners of the toolkit who are involved in the development as well as the training activities. Next slide. A bit of history as to how this toolkit came about. So as most of you know, there was a historic Youth for Climate pre-COP held in Milan 2 years ago, and one of the outcome demands from the young people was for peer education. And so IACT was really created as a direct response to this, to create peer education tools and resources that young people can use to bring important messages on climate and energy to their communities. All right, next slide. So how is the toolkit structured? So the toolkit includes presentation materials, it includes talking points with a facilitator guide, and it also includes workshop activities. So we have presentation materials that include easy to understand infographics, very nice messages, data and information, as well as key takeaways on key topics. Next slide. The second component is the trainer guide. So this actually has the talking points so that the young people feel empowered to deliver this message and this content with confidence. So we have the talking points ready for them. Of course, we also encourage the young people to adapt these talking points for their own country context. And in addition to the knowledge building components of the toolkit, we also want to encourage discussion, we want to encourage reflections, we want to encourage exchanges of ideas. And so the third component of the toolkit is workshop activities. And so these include many different types of activities, ranging from visioning exercises, to discussions, to role plays, to asking young people to develop their own proposals and pitches. And we think it's important that these workshops are not just lectures. It's not someone just standing in front of a room delivering content, but all of the young people who are part of the workshops are able to engage actively during the process. So the toolkit is made up of 6 modules. Each module focuses on a different topic, a different dimension of climate change and energy. The first module is on dispelling common myths. And this is also essentially a summary module of all of the different content. And we present a series of commonly held myths or misconceptions when it comes to climate and energy, and we show how to address these misconceptions. So this really enables the young people to take this content to answer deniers or naysayers on some of these issues. Next slide. The next content part of the toolkit is quite a data-heavy component, so it looks at climate change and energy trends. And we look at building some of the knowledge base of where we are now, but also where we want to be. So for example, we look at why climate change is happening. We look at the implications of a changing climate on our planet. We try to explain what's the difference between 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees, 3 degrees. What does this really mean in practice? And finally, we also look at some of the renewable energy data that's out there. And I think it's always surprising to young people, or to most people actually, just how much the uptake has been of renewables over the last few years. It's no longer an alternative technology, it's really the way of the future, and so this is something that we really try to emphasize in this module. Next one. The next module focuses on the role of renewable energy for climate action. It gives learners an overview of some of the key UNFCCC processes and key agreements, such as the Paris Agreement and the Kyoto Protocol. Then we try to explain the role of renewables both in adaptation and mitigation. We look at some of the policy insights as well, so what type of policies do we need for climate action? And then we have some content that was co-developed with UNICEF that looks at the role of children and youth in policy making and the importance of youth advocacy, and also how many countries are including young people as part of their NDCs, how many NDCs reference youth. So all of this is part of this module. Now, most of the content so far has focused on the climate dimensions, but we also want to emphasize that energy is about climate, but it's also about development. And so we have the 4th module that looks at the role of energy for development. And this includes looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, the fact that renewable energy is really at the heart of these goals. We encourage the young people to think about interlinkages between some of these. So also the use of renewable energy for health, for education, for food, for agriculture. All of this is part of this module. Next one. And of course, we want to center all of this learning in the context of a just and inclusive energy transition. So the 5th module looks at the importance of justice and equity, the fact that everyone needs to be included, the fact that we need to make sure that all people are part of this transition, including underrepresented and marginalized communities. And we also look at intergenerational issues, and what does it mean when we talk about the rights of future generations, as well as some of the specific concerns of groups such as workers and women. And finally, we come to, I think, my favorite module of the toolkit, which brings all of this together to look at youth-led action. So we have examples of youth-led initiatives from all over the world in this module. So we're showing how young people can contribute to climate action and renewable energy. And we show good practices, we showcase existing projects. But we also wanted to contextualize this part of the toolkit. So we actually had all of our peer educators work on a group assignment to find their own local examples of youth-led actions. So we wanted them to find initiatives that young people can join locally, as well as other examples of local action. So all of these are also part of this module. Next slide. Okay, so we developed the toolkit. The next stage was to select our peer educators. We've had about 150 peer educators from all around the world, from 70 different countries, take part in our trainings. We offered a virtual training of trainers for them over the course of a couple of months. And after this, they were provided support by the Italian embassies to conduct their own in-country workshops. Next slide. And so this is our global impact. These are all of the countries where we have had peer educators take part in the trainings. As you can see, it's a very long list of countries, and I'm incredibly impressed with all of the youth and their dedication. Next slide. So I actually just want to take a minute to share some of the pictures of the workshops that have happened in the different countries. So you can just keep scrolling through. So as you can see, we have some incredible images. All of the young people have reported back that they've had very engaging workshops, but all of the young people that participated in their workshops were excited, invigorated. They wanted to act, which is the whole point of the initiative. And it was very diverse. And this is also thanks to the support of the Italian embassies, who provided a venue, who allowed the young people a space to host these workshops. And I think, as you can see, the impact has been amazing. So every young person who took part in IACT, and I see many of you in the room here, I do want to say congratulations. And on that note, I would actually like to invite a few of the IACT peer educators and supporters here in the room to take part in a panel discussion, just to share some of their reflections and their perspectives. So let me call on you all. So first I would like to invite Marco Gervasi, who is a coordinator with the European Youth Energy Network, and he's also one of our IACT peer educators from Italy. Next, I would like to invite Diksha Subedi, who is the founder of Youth Action for Sustainable and Eco Nepal, and who is also one of our IACT peer educators. I'd like to invite Winifred Mpoa Atanga, who is a founder of the Conservation Leaders Network, to come and join us. And I'd also like to invite Christabel Mirabedi, who is also one of our incredible IACT peer educators and one of the COP28 youth delegates. Please come to the stage. And I also see David in the back. David, I'm going to put you on the spot. So the SDG 7 Youth Constituency was one of our partners in developing this. So David, if you feel ready to come on the spot and say a few words. Asma, you're also very welcome to join. Please just come and take a seat. So this was impromptu, but it's great to have David here. And I guess the first question I just want to ask each of you is just to share with us some of your reflections. What do you see as some of the positive impacts of the IACT initiative? How has been your experience with this program, and what are some of your main takeaways? So very, very broad question, but we'd just love to hear your reflections on the initiative. So Winifred, perhaps, yeah?
Hi, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to join this panel. I'd like to highlight that during the IACT program, it was really eye-opening, because there were some things that as a peer educator, I didn't know initially, but going through this was more of a capacity building for me to know in depth into renewable energy, climate action, how to even communicate with my target audience, who are mostly young people, and also how to include education at the forefront of my advocacy campaigns. So I think this was really important for me personally, and also even my teammates, because I relayed what I learned from the toolkit to my organization and the people in my organization to also use in their education at the communities. Yeah, so I thank you.
Thank you. Christabel?
Oh, thank you very much for this opportunity. Well, for me, I would like to say that I really appreciate the IACT peer training, because I wasn't someone who was into energy issues. Yes, I was in the climate space, but I was actually exploring other issues. But then when I had an appreciation of this, I actually felt that this is the track that I should have been following ever since. I want to comment and say that the IACT peer training that we did in Zimbabwe was really engaging, and it was amazing. You realize that we managed to build a network of knowledge amongst the young people because, Nelson Mandela once said in a quote, education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. Close quote. So with this, we managed to capacitate young people on issues to do with just transition, renewable energy, climate action, and it actually helps to help young people to identify and locate their position within the climate discourse. And I also want to comment that it also opened up to issues to do with stranded assets. You realize that from my community, from where I come from, we have mining host communities, for instance, that are focusing on the mining of fossil fuels like coal. So those people are really clinging. We're really clinging on to their primitive ways of extracting the coal and also using it. But then with the IACT coming into play, you realize that they managed to realize that there's going to be a lot of opportunities, a lot of green jobs that are going to be opened up as long as we embrace the clean energy. So yes, for me, I think that would be my key take.
Thank you for these reflections. And I also just want to mention, Christabel has a law background, so she's actually part of the SADC Youth Parliament. She's a clerk with the SADC Youth Parliament. And so it's interesting seeing young people who are not necessarily coming from this climate change background or energy background still being able to take ownership of these kinds of topics, which are sometimes considered more technical, a little more intimidating to approach. So thank you very much for your reflections, Christabel. Now I'd like to invite Marco Gervasi to take the floor.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me? Yeah. So first thing first, thanks both to Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs to IRENA for arranging these incredible initiatives, and I'm very proud of being Italian more than ever these days. And I have to say that the IACT initiatives, even from a global north perspective, was very unique because there is a lot of traditional institutions that deliver education in Europe in general, but there is less the focusing on more innovative way to deliver education, such as a peer-to-peer education. And I have to say that the IACT program is very flexible, so allows every educator to even add what they know, what they knowledge, and then even deep down in specific topics according to their experiences and knowledge in the energy field. So I think the modularity of the toolkit and the informality of the toolkit makes it unique in a way, and also to deliver a larger impact when you deliver courses like we did. So those are my takeaways from the IACT toolkit.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Diksha, please.
Thank you. Hello everyone and namaste. I am Diksha Subedi from Nepal. So basically being a girl born in Blaze, small district of our country, where I was searching for many opportunity, and then I got the opportunity of IRENA, Act for Trainer, and then I got to see this is the space or the platform where being a youth activist, living in the small country like Nepal, where I got an opportunity to meet with different fellows, to meet with different trainers, or different experience one where I got to experience about the energy, what different types of modules. Actually, I was working mostly in the SDG goal number 13, that is climate action. But I was quite curious about learning on the different renewable energy sector. And in our country, there is also major problem of renewable energy. People are not convinced to use renewable energy. Still, they are using different kinds of non-renewable energy, using diesel, petrol engines. So I was quite fascinating to learn about this renewable energy, how it actually works, and as an individual, as a citizen of our country, developing country like Nepal, how I can be the part of the change maker, and how I can convince to different locally lived adaptation problems, solution, and how I can be the role model to execute the renewable energy. And then, actually it is major positive impacts of this session is good networking opportunity. During this part, I was also, I got an opportunity to 18 Youth and Climate Convening 2023, Cultivating Capacity and Unlocking Opportunity to Climate Policy, which was held in New Delhi, India, where we all the different individuals from different sectors are gathered together in a similar space where we have talked about like a different agenda, like how actually renewable energy should be, how the countries should be acting together, how the policies should be formed, and different expertise are there in a single space where we have youth, children, also the person from the non-government sector, government sector, and actually how the policy can be made. So what can be the role of the youth to make the policy and knock the door of the government so that the policy can be actually executed, not only in the paper but also in the pathway or in the execution phase. So yeah, it was a major like networking opportunity for me and also major learning experience opportunity for me in this renewable sector, and I'm quite lucky and felt blessed to share my like experience in this platform with you all guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And you made a great point earlier about being able to interact and network with young people from around the world. And it's been amazing seeing the community that the Peer ACT educators have built. They have a support network for each other. They share their experiences in delivering the workshops. They really have built this IACT community from around the world who supports each other, who engages together, and it's been amazing to see this grow. David, I want to turn to you. So the SDG 7 Youth Constituency was one of the partners in the development of the IACT Toolkit. What has been the reception that you've seen to IACT from young people around the world?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sama, for the question, and it's such a pleasure, to sit here with incredible people in the audience and also esteemed panelists. For me, I would say that the IACT in itself is a dream come true. We cannot achieve SDG 7 if people do not take ownership, if people do not know about what it is. And the beautiful thing about this interactive toolkit is it tends to demystifies the very complex perspective that people have of energy. And that's why we see that there was a lot of accelerated action. People could take ownership for themselves, because once you go through the material, it's too juicy, it's too excellent, it's too beautiful. You want to share the good message contained in it with other people. And that's what we have seen across the globe. I mean, from the countries that we also earlier in the previous slides, it just shows the reach that this toolkit has already made. And I would say that there are much more levels that we're going to be taking this to, because it has to be, I have a dream that it can get to the library of every single primary or secondary school in the globe. And so the next stage for us is begin to engage much more with country governments, with their ministries of education, because if we're going to achieve SDG 7 by 2030, everybody must know that they have a role to play, whether they are kids, whether they are youth, whether you are teachers as well. So everybody has a role to play. And ensuring that there's these advocates, we have such a fantastic tool. I found myself in different rooms, talking about this with different country governments, and they are kind of surprised that such a toolkit has been developed. And so I just want to applaud the leadership of IRENA for putting this together. The constituency were delighted to have been part of it, and all the other stakeholders, UNICEF, the Italian government, that ensure that across all the countries we're able to leverage their embassies and their resources to be able to spread this. I would say that this is just the beginning of this, and the impact that we foresee in the near future is tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And that actually takes us perfectly to the next question that I wanted to ask. And it's, how can we build on this success? What should we be doing next to really address the education and skilling gaps for the energy transition? So perhaps Winifred?
So prior to the main final conference, my team and I from Ghana had a series of interaction with the university students. It was more of bi-weekly, no, how do you say 2 times in a week? But bi-weekly, yeah. So, so it was more of a bi-weekly meeting that we organize like mini conferences and workshops with universities in Ghana, mainly universities that focused more or less. So it was an interconnection of universities that focused on renewable energy and universities that did not have any idea or didn't have courses around renewable energy. So we organized these workshops and then we got to understand the need of how we could center the final conference to fit into the needs that they currently have. So during this time, I realized the importance of collaboration with universities and institutions or even training programs. So I think building on this success, just like David said, it would be very important if IRENA and the Italian government could find ways to collaborate with educational institutions, have these modules in libraries, included in curriculums, or even training programs that train young people. I think there's a bright future for it. Yeah.
Wonderful, and I think that's a great idea. I mean, we focused on the non-formal education here, but formal education systems are really important to get these messages to the masses and to get them to as many young people as possible. So I think that's a really good point. Christabel?
Oh, thank you very much for the question. I also want to echo on the words that my colleagues have said. I think it's very important for us to ensure that we continue to build that network of knowledge. I always talk about telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And at the end of the day, everyone knows because, we have a big network. So it's very important for us to ensure that we continue to build that network of knowledge because it is only when people know that they'll be able to act from an informed perspective. Then another point that I want to comment on is the point on leveraging on already existing structures. I think it's very important for us to ensure that we harness the already existing structures that we have as we create the other new structures in the process. Back home, I always work with environmental clubs. One of the organizations that I'm affiliated to, Zimbabwe Environmental Law Association, has a lot of environmental clubs around the country in different provinces within the country. And we always work with those environmental clubs right from primary school, secondary school, and even at tertiary level. So it's very important for us to harness those kind of structures because when we work with the eco clubs, you actually get to create, you actually get to target a larger group of audience and you get to communicate and disseminate the information in different ways. Then the other 2 points that I want to comment on is the other one is on ensuring that we are found where the decisions are made. We are found on the decision-making table. We are found influencing policy where policy shaping is taking place. I'm proud to say that back home, I always contribute whenever we're having pre-COP position papers, whenever we are looking at the amendment of the Environmental Management Act and other pieces that are essential because it is only when we are there that we actually get to share our perspectives, that we actually get to share our position as young people. Then the last point that I want to talk about is the point of innovation. I think it's very important for us as young people to find ourselves in those spaces because we as young people, we have this creative energy and this flexible mindset. It's very important for us to utilize that as young people. Thank you.
Yeah, you basically said most of the things that I had in my mind. But I think the most important way forward that I personally see, is also cross-geographical collaboration. Because, IACT is actually a platform that match everyone in the world that has different perspective, different way to tackle climate change and affordability of energy access, energy security, and so on and so forth. So I think what we can build from now on is build a global community around SDG 7 and around the knowledge that we gain both from delivering the workshop, from living different countries, different communities, and facing different challenges, and also we can learn from each other. So it's not just that we can teach to someone else, but we literally learn from each other from different challenges that we faced. So I think this is the best way I see as a foreseen for the IACT. And of course, I see that for the next year, more events like that going on, so we cannot stop 2023, but 2024 there will be much more events coming on. And of course, like with the support, especially, I mean, I've seen everywhere in the world, the Youth for Climate was also very supportive. In Italy, they were our main sponsor basically for the two workshops that we deliver, but I see also everywhere in the world they did. And just I want to underline that, like, in Italy were two of us, so me and Aurora Audino, so they were like a team of two to deliver those two workshops, and I think also in this case enabled collaboration among youth in different countries.
Okay, so from our country, I was only one of the IACT for trainers, so it was quite challenging for me to conduct workshop because without having colleagues it would be quite difficult, but I have shared in different media like, yeah, we can get different information about IRENA, IACT for trainer, about the renewable energy and everything on the media. But actually the lagging part was, I have already said, like, being from developing country, it is quite challenging to get the opportunity, and also many people don't get about the resources and how we can get this opportunity. So in 2024, I would like to request or share the more information with every individual youth and children groups and also women groups who can be the part of this campaign and then have a greater understanding regarding the energy sector. And also, as my friend mentioned about the global collaboration, so yeah, it is quite necessary to have a global collaboration because it is the platform or space where many youth, individual youth from different countries are gathered together. So having a collaboration with different youth can have also opportunity space to have brainstorm the different ideas and then execute the problems that are actually existed in their society, in their community. So yeah, actually collaboration with different organizations and the different countries' youth can be necessary in the 2024, and also many youth from Nepal is necessary to be the part of this campaign. And thank you.
Thank you. Amazing ideas all around. Maybe just some closing reflections from the SDG 7 youth constituency.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Salma. I think that we all have a role to play. All of us in this room have a role to play to ensure that we take this from where we are, from the impact that it has already made to where it can be. We all are part of networks that interface with the subject of SDGs. This resource must get to those groups. So that's one takeaway. Each and every one of us has to be able to do that. But also, I know that IRENA, it's already taking some meaningful action going forward to make this much more formalized and engage much more country governments in ensuring that this makes it into some sort of curriculum or some sort of broader networks. But it's also very critical that as we think around this subject, let us always remember and have this at the back of our mind that if people do not know and understand the impact a goal seeks to achieve, they may not be able to identify the role that they can play in achieving it. And so that should be the reason why we want to talk about this everywhere we find ourselves. Find young people, find young groups who are meaningfully engaging on SDGs, SDG 7. Please ensure that in one way or the other they interact with this. It's currently in English. There are no language barriers. I know that if we need to translate it,
we have it in French,
excellent,
Spanish,
yes, Spanish, excellent.
and Portuguese.
Excellent. So we already have a round of applause, please. Excellent. So we already have it in already diverse languages, and much more languages can come on stream if we have to get it, because at the end of the day, we cannot afford to leave anyone behind if we're going to achieve SDG 7 collectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have another round of applause for our fantastic panel? Thank you all very much. I mean, first, thank you for your amazing engagement on IACT, but also for these great ideas that you've shared. And I think we'll be continuing these conversations to see how we can continue to build on the work that has happened so far. So thank you to all of you. And now to close, I would like to invite Emanuela Vignola from the Youth for Climate. So as mentioned earlier, IACT came out of some of the demands of Youth for Climate, and we'd love to hear her reflections on what next and how we can continue to collaborate and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Emanuela Vignola from the Italian Ministry of the Environment and Energy Security. First of all, I want to congratulate with IRENA for the great achievement because it won't be possible without them. They made an extraordinary result in sharing this toolkit, and we are very proud to partner with them. I'm part of the Youth for Climate team, as mentioned before by the Italian envoy for climate change. One of the goals of Youth for Climate is to enhance youth capacities, and I think that the IACT perfectly matches this idea. As we are about to launch the second call for solutions, I think we can synergize even more the activities with IRENA, because one of the topic of the next call is going to be renewable energies. So we are more than ready to foster this collaboration. And as we have so many talented educators, I think we are on the right path. Thank you very much. And last but not least, I want to invite you to join us on December the 9th at the Youth Champion Pavilion, as we will give you more details about the next call for solution. 9 December, Youth Champion Pavilion, 12:30. Thank you.
Okay, so that brings us to an end. Thank you all very much for joining us today, and I hope to see more of you becoming IACT educators in the future. Thank you.